Hello everybody. Welcome to our new podcast. This week's episode, we have our first ever guest, so that's really exciting. And we're going to talk about active waking alert hypnosis with this guest, which is a different form of hypnosis. I personally, I attended one workshop about it, and I was really excited. And this guest is going to come to the Netherlands to provide a training, and I'm going to attend that training. So I'm looking forward to it. And this is going to be a really nice chance to ask some pre-questions. I will introduce the guest. Our guest for today is Claude André Ribaux. He is from Switzerland. He's a hypnosis trainer and also a therapist, and he has a very wide background. I read through your website, Claude, and I was like, oh my God, does a human being have so much time to do all these things in his life? You also know 5 languages, one including Bengali, which I'm like, how did you learn that? That's so exciting. But I will also share how I met you personally, because I think it's a really nice story. Because we met in, I guess it was 2018, the Hypnosis Congress in Zurich. And for me, I was just a beginner hypnotherapist. So I was a little bit like intimidated by all these experienced hypnotists. And it started off with a science presentation, which we're also going to talk about today. And that science presentation was in German. So I did learn German in high school, but not on a scientific level. And you were the person I was sitting next to. And you were so friendly because you translated like the core points for me so that I was able to follow it. And actually, it was really nice meeting you that first evening, because it really helped me to kind of feel like, oh, I have at least one friend during this conference to help.
Okay, great.
Create a sense of belonging, which is, I think I like that. So that is how I know you. And we're not together in this podcast. My mom is also here. So now my mom is going to share how she knows you, because that's also an interesting perspective. So Mom, over to you.
Actually, I do not know the moment, but I do know that we share a common background in a sense. And one of the things is that Claude has a lot of background in countries abroad. So he worked in Bangladesh, but he worked for the Red Cross in many other countries as well. And I have a similar background, not that I worked, but I was an expatriate in Kenya. So then you share a lot of common themes. And that is one of the things that I first remember from him. But I'm very interested to hear from you now, Claude. What are we missing out? We are missing out so many things.
That's normal. That's normal. And by the way, I actually forgot that I did translation for you at that conference. But now, as you talk about, I remember. Of course, Ina, I met you at probably the first time in Zurich at the Congress. Actually, I attended your speech about cancer. I think that was the first speech I saw from you. I also remember well one from Marlboro in the US, when you talked about how to run your own practice, which I found quite very interesting, because many people don't know how to run their practice. They may be good in doing hypnosis, but when it comes to running the practice, they have some difficulties. And you probably were the first, or one of the first ones, who actually brought the attention of the hypnotist to this issue. So this is very important for me, because one of the things is you learn hypnosis in many ways. And the second thing is you have to practice it in a way. And practice is not just you get a client and you do something, or you try with some other people. You also have to get organized. You have to get things going. You have to develop systems. And I think this is underestimated. You can be the best hypnotist, but until unless you know exactly how to get organized yourself, you will not have the opportunity to really practice it a lot. Now, for me, it is not, you can read my CV, that's not very interesting.
I disagree, but continue.
It's just a CV. Now, the interesting part is how did I come to hypnosis? And this is linked to probably, I mean, I have been interested in this as from the 70s when I started to do meditation. At that time, you remember, we had this transcendental meditation, and some of our gurus were flying on a mountain in Switzerland. So I never succeeded to do that though. But I mean, at least during my student times, I did a lot of meditation. And much later, once I went to a bookstore and I saw a book called Hypnosis and Therapy, or Therapy in Hypnosis, by two guys called Bandler and Grinder, the founders of NLP. I thought, oh, that's an interesting title. So I bought that book and took it with me for a mission to Bangladesh, because you have to read something. There's nothing to do in the night, no nightlife. So I was well trained for the condition we have now in Europe, no nightlife. So you have to somehow get yourself doing something. So during that time, I was on a huge steamboat crossing from one of the offshore islands to Chittagong, which is the main port city of Bangladesh. And it was of course, an old vessel, and you know, I had a cabin and I got served good curries and all these things. But then during the night, there was a huge storm coming up. But to be very frank, probably all the rest of the passengers, they were somehow very bad, but I was so fascinated with this book that I even didn't realize that there was a storm. People thought there was a storm. How did you survive? What storm? So, I mean, that was how this interest was generated. And to be frank, I like it for myself, to be self-hypnosis, going to the dentist, not needing an anesthetical injection and so on. This is a real advantage. Sometimes I had a dentist who I came in because she replaced the other dentist for holiday reasons or something. Then I told her, no anesthesia. Then she said, oh, you're one of these hard guys. Then I said, no, not hard. I'm an intelligent guy. So, I mean, this is what I think about hypnosis. It's an intelligent tool.
You use it also
that's beautiful. An intelligent tool. Let's remember that, Ayla.
Yeah, and it also sounds like you also use it for self-empowerment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
What it's for, actually.
Well, how can I sell something that I'm not using myself? I think it's rubbish. So, but you guys, you use it for you. Huh? How do you sell it?
Yeah.
No, yeah, we also use self-hypnosis, but it's good to hear your version of it.
Okay.
So I think, Mom, you wanted to ask some questions about the science project.
Yes, because in Switzerland there is this very unique scientific research, and I believe, Claude, you are at the core of it. So can you enlighten us a little bit? what is this research and what are the results? And why is it exciting?
Well, you know, for us it is exciting, but also time consuming, because it has been with us for the past, I started in 2018, so it's almost, yeah, it's 3 years by now. Now, in this project, we actually enter a big scientific discourse about hypnosis. Now, the problem with hypnosis is there was no common and shared scientific understanding of what hypnosis is. So many hypnotists even say, well, hypnosis is kind of relationship, or others say hypnosis is a state. Others say hypnosis does not exist. It cannot be traced. So the problem is, even the literature, the scientific literature was not really giving us a lot of information about that. So challenging this condition, Hans Rudi, the founder of HypnoseNet, and of course now the owner of the OMNI hypnosis therapy program and training program, he wanted to have some kind of clarification about that. And he found 2 scientists who started to do the research. So it took quite a while to get a reasonable design for such a project. So we have taken 50 existing hypnosis specialists, those who know how to go into somnambulism and estale states. I don't want to explain the reasons why we have done that, because...
Can you explain shortly maybe what is somnambulism and estale? Because I imagine people listening who don't know these terms.
Well, somnambulism is kind of deep trance, and estale is a very deep, sometimes called hypnotic coma.
Yeah, so it's like different levels of hypnosis.
Exactly. So these are, if this is normal, then estale is here, somnambulism in the estale is down here.
Yeah.
So just to make it short, we are studying the same 50 persons, which is quite a lot for brain research. We are studying in 3 phases. Phase 1 was, how do hypnotic inductions, these specific inductions, change the running of the blood in the head, in the brain, simply said. Are there some areas where there is more blood, less, and so on and so on. I explain it very simply, and you can see that in an fMRI scanner. So everybody went into the scanner, and we saw every brain was of course scanned, so we knew this brain is behaving like that in a normal state. And then we induced hypnosis, somnambulism, and estale, and every hypnotist who was involved did exactly the same wording, which was very important logically, but which in many hypnosis research was not ensured, by the way. So it was a standardized process. And then, sorry?
Normally with the research around hypnosis, as I understood it, that's a difficulty to have this standardized induction or way to enter hypnosis, and that is what really makes this a special project, right?
Yeah, there are too many problems. You get people who have no experience in hypnosis, so it's very difficult they cannot answer the question, did it feel like previous hypnosis? Yes or no? It's an important question, because a scanner is a very different environment than at least my practice, as you can see. I hope so. You don't see the chair, but it is somewhere around the corner here, and it's much different from the atmosphere in a scanner room.
Yeah, less
And
cozy.
hopefully. And secondly, most of the time, these were not trained hypnotherapists who did the hypnosis.
Yeah.
So we have ensured people who are suggestible, who know what hypnosis was, because we wanted to know what is the special state, which we call hypnotic state. And secondly, we had fully trained hypnotherapists in the board, whose names were also accepted by the ethical committee. And so in the first phase, we studied the flow of the blood in the brain. Were there changes? Were there no changes? So of course, our scientists said initially, they said, well, it's no, forget about all this hypnosis. We won't see any change. It is just, so we want to prove that there is no hypnosis.
They didn't believe it. They would find a state.
That was their initial assumption, or at least the assumption they started from.
Yeah.
But fortunately for us, I don't know, for them, unfortunately, they failed to prove this, because we can show many things. We can show from the blood flow study already, we can show that normal consciousness is different from somnambulistic state and estale state on the one hand, and estale state and somnambulistic states are again different from each other. So in terms of blood flow in the brain.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to go into details, because it's really quite difficult to explain what that actually means. So, but there were two areas in the brain where we identified the biggest changes. So now, in a second part, again in the scanner, the same people to study, we focused the attention on exactly these two areas. And this was necessary because it is the first study which ever has been done about chemical changes in the chemistry in the brain due to hypnosis. And this is, and of course we didn't inject anything, so the measurement is a purely physical measurement, but you can change the reaction of some parts of the brain. Every chemical has some other reaction, let's say it like that, and you can see this difference in this reaction. And now, based on that, we could see also changes in the chemical constitution of the brain due to this hypnosis. At the moment, we are running an EEC study with the same persons, of course, same inductions, and we hope to get some results quite soon from there. We just have 10 days ago, we have completed, I think, 26 persons, so we have another 24 to go. And the EEC study takes a little long in terms of organizing it, because in a day you can make only 4 hypnosis.
Okay.
So in the other case, you could make 6, 7, 8. I mean, it's faster with the scanner than with the EEC. So we're in the middle of that. I cannot say anything about what we have seen in the EEC, but with the first 2, we can more or less safely say that there are hypnotic states, at least in these persons we have searched out, done the research in.
Yeah.
Wow, exciting. So we are really looking forward to the publication. I think it will be a tremendous help for the field of hypnosis, although it's more and more accepted nowadays. But still, yeah, well, people who are disbelievers, I cannot say the word, but they say as long as this is not proven in the brain, it doesn't exist for us. And yeah, we can now say otherwise.
Yes. I mean, it will be very exciting to compare this data with other data, for example, from studies among Buddhist monks and so on, and to see differences and similarities between these hypnotic inductions and meditation, because in some places, sorry?
Yeah, that's very exciting, because that's a question that I so often get. What is the difference between meditation and hypnosis? So it would be really cool to have some scientific insight into that question.
Well, yeah, I was dealing with people I was supposed to run courses, hypnosis courses in Thailand, but people tell me, well, we don't need it. We have our Buddhist monks. So,
yeah.
Okay, I don't comment on this. But if you want to get anesthesia-free dental surgery with meditation, you have to meditate for at least 1 or 2 or 3 years to succeed in doing that. If you take it with self-hypnosis, you may get it within a fortnight. So.
Oh, thank you for that one. I love this answer. We have a new answer during our trainings.
Well, I always say you can go on foot. You can go on foot to Rome. You can take the bicycle, the car, the train, but you can also take the plane. And I always compare hypnosis with the plane.
Exactly.
So many people, I think meditation is really an awesome, fantastic tool, but not for everybody. You really need to discipline yourself first. Mm-hmm. And that's a step you can skip with hypnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a client, imagine somebody comes to you with a kind of anxiety and you say, yeah, it's great. I offer you this 2 years meditation program. So
I will be rid of it.
So it's not, for us, we have fast results.
Yeah, that's a big difference as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were interested about the active alert hypnosis?
Yes, very interested. Yeah, because I heard you also speak about clients that are stuck. Mm-hmm. And they say, yeah, well, it's Corona, there's a pandemic going on, and that this active alert hypnosis can really help in these clients that feel stuck. But maybe start from the beginning and explain what is active alert hypnosis.
So I can tell you the definition is very clear. It is a standardized hypnosis induction. This is very important. It's standardized, but you can leave your eyes open. And which the real difference is, as you can actually see, I have a bike here. It is done on a piece of sports equipment, mostly on a bike, on a stationary bike. And while the client is moving, clients pump a stationary bike. You actually do the induction, and the hypnotic state, which is produced by the active alert hypnosis, is almost identical with the state produced by the traditional relaxation hypnosis, in terms of not, of course, in terms of relaxation, but in terms of imagination, in terms all these criteria, hallucination, ability to visualize, and things like that.
Enhanced suggestibility.
Yes.
It would be, just coming back to the science project, it would be very challenging to measure active alert hypnosis in a scan, right?
Yeah, there have been some tests with some sports people, comparing footballers like I think it was Ronaldo with average footballers in a scanner, the brain activity. I think when Ronaldo imagined dribbling, he had much less brain activity than those who were not as good as he is. So it means that if you know something very well, if you know it by heart, you actually don't use a lot of energy for that. It's not absolutely radical insight, but it has been shown in the scanner. But of course, it's very difficult for the active alert to be done in a scanner. All these studies were done with EEC.
Yeah.
In the case of active alert.
Okay. And so you already mentioned a little bit, but it's very similar to the normal hypnotic trance state. So the difference is really in you have your eyes open while you are induced into the trance, and
Yes.
you have these movements going
Yes.
on. You're
So
moving.
you actually induce, you don't induce something like sleep, you go deeper and deeper. You never do that. So you're more alert, you're fresh. It's very different. It's it's like waking up. You're awake. The more you go, the more awake you get. The more awake you get, the more fresh you feel. The fresher you feel. And this is actually energizing you, but at the same time, it's the same trance as as many people know from running, which is called the runner's high.
Yeah.
Or in traditional dance, or even in dance rituals, such states of awake trance are known, but it was always difficult to create those.
Okay.
So by using active alert hypnosis standard protocol, we can induce this on a bike, and it's fast. It's very fast. I had once I got the job of running individual sessions with a full tennis school of 25 people. I had one day. So I had, first of all, a group session about flow state and something like that, and let them experience flow states.
Yeah.
And then if from lunch to 6 o'clock or something in the evening, I had 25 people in a row. So I had 2 minutes to identify pre-talk, then 8 to 9 minutes for the hypnosis, and then another 2 or 3 minutes for the after hypnosis talk.
Wow.
So you can imagine how fast that is. And everyone was able to go into a flow state and an active alert hypnosis state. And everyone was able to imagine his or her best tennis and feel like it is to play the best ever tennis she played.
Wow.
And so it is fast, it is efficient. And of course, these were mostly young people, sports people. They are used to this. They are faster than maybe some other people in going into this hypnotic state. So it was fantastic to work with them. And the good thing is I worked with the same school or with some individuals 10 months later, and I asked them, well, do you know, there was once upon a time, there was in this afternoon, we had this session. Do you still remember what we did? How can you dare that I forgot this? I still can imagine. So it shows that the ideal film, kind of mind TV they did over there, imagining their visualizing their best tennis and also feeling it going in and out from this visualization, in and out of this visualization for only few minutes like 3-4 minutes, this experience stood with these boys and girls for many months.
Wow, it really made an impression on them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know with everyone because I couldn't study that, but with the others, it really left, it is a deep experience.
Wow.
So it makes each session deep experience. So it is, now, of course, I'm also working with the traditional hypnosis, which is on deeper and deeper and relaxation. I can say that there are some advantages of both of the methods. First of all, for visualization and like beautiful dreams and dreaming, I always would prefer active alert hypnosis because it can induce, you can dream, you can even do lucid dreaming, although I'm discussing with people who are experienced in that, whether these are real lucid dreams or not. But on the other hand, and you can go beyond what you're doing. So, for example, somebody is depressed, and by moving this, the person actually starts to move out of this depressive state or depressive illusion. Everything is bad and so on and so on, because he starts to feel the warmth in the body, the freshness, the lightness. And so automatically you go beyond what is here.
It's like the movement of the body literally also starts moving the thoughts, the brain,
yes.
the convictions that a person has.
Yes. Yes,
beautiful.
because you help that. Of course, you support it. You can say, okay, now as everything moves automatically, you start to understand that anyway, everything moves automatically, even your ideas. And as they move so easily, you you now start to understand that even this idea of being imprisoned in this and this is now moving, and you start to get out, or whatever that the problem of the client is.
Wow.
What topics can it be used for?
So it is for all kind of anxieties, then depression, of course, ego strengthening in the broadest sense of lack of self-confidence. Then, in principle, it can be used for everything, but the fact that you have a hammer means that does not mean that every problem is a nail. So it's for example, if somebody comes, you get the feeling that you have to do regression work, and you really need I would say, the bad feeling of the person to stay for a while in the body, because so to identify the origin of the problem, then you have more difficulties with the active alert, because you have produced by the body itself, you have the counter movement to the induction of now this bad feeling of so and so and so and so. Try to feeling, make it stronger and stronger, but at the same time your legs do something different. So you have a kind of contradiction in this, and it's more difficult to get access to the origin of the problems. So there I see a limitation of this method. And of course, if you imagine it's a lengthy session, like a session for 1 or 2 hours, then you can imagine that most of the people, they are not very much able to go on for pumping a bike like for 2 hours and so on.
How long is a typical session like that? An active
It can
alert?
take with some people with normal anxiety or fear of exams or something like that. It takes between 10 and 15 or maybe 20 minutes.
It's actually
Sometimes a little longer, 30, 35 for the very, I would say, more difficult cases. For others, I had some people who took 70 minutes because they wanted to have, I think, 5 issues treated. So,
in
so
70 minutes.
yeah.
They were very motivated.
No. I have a carpet down here. So with this one guy, he's an ice hockey player. He was the captain of one of the hockey teams and an Swiss member of the Swiss international team. So he wanted to have everything dealt with in one session, like 5 issues. So he had a woolen jumper on and said, well, do you really think that this will help you to go through this biking? And then he said, yes, of course, I like it. So as a result, the carpet was fully wet after this, I would say 75 minutes. He sweat, he had to go somewhere to take a shower. Sorry. So these are the things which are fun and which help a lot people to start to understand what hypnosis is, and also to help people who are very skeptical about hypnosis and who fear losing control and so on and so on. You can say it's perfect. You actually can use their willingness to keep control as an induction, and now you control it better and even better, and the better you control, the fresher you can go, and so on and so on. And so this really helps you to work with people who are skeptical, who say, well, how can you, I mean, I have people who come to me like managers from our Zurich banks. They say, are you the person who can break me? Well, how does it sound if I break you? So, I mean, for this kind of person, I tell them, well, it's always in relation to your intention to change. And of course, it's hypnosis is the fact that you can be hypnotized is always also linked to the level of intelligence. So the most intelligent people, they are those people who have beautiful imagination, who can imagine all what I say very easily. So I help them to be more intelligent by being compliant with the induction.
Yeah. So also analytical people, this is a great technique to give them a sense of control, if I understand you correctly.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, no, it's very good. And well, then they say, well, I don't know if I was in hypnosis. So here I always do the time control.
Okay.
You have to see with these modern bikes, you have always a watch on this bike. So I put something on the watch, and then I ask them, so how long were you on the bike? Yeah, 5 minutes. And say, well, do you look at this watch? It was 25 minutes. So time distortion is a very, very, very good proof that people have been in hypnosis, and it's a good convincer for them.
Yeah, great. And I'm curious, are there certain, like because you do both, right? You do active alert hypnosis and you do the more traditional relaxing, go deeper
Yes.
hypnosis. But if a client comes to you, do you decide based on their sort of therapeutic goal what route you will take with them, or how does that work? How do you choose?
Well, some people, including me, when somebody comes with a issue like I have chronic coughing or something like that, I wouldn't start with active alert. Let's say if with some of the things that you could consider as psychosomatic, and so I would never start with the active alert, because my assumption is that there is some kind of information that actually helps to sustain this problem in the body, and we have to identify this information and then change, like regress to cause. And it's very difficult to do that on a bike, as I said, because you through the movements you already create a sense of happiness, which makes it difficult to imagine this depression or this bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
And if it is a huge anger, I'm so angry with this, and so on, then of course the bike can be a very good thing, because then every action can move directly into the bike. So this bad guy, and
you can really release that energy.
So sometimes I thought I should link to the electricity company for power production. So this could be another reframing of active alert hypnosis. So, but if it is a real, I would say, complicated or more complicated issue, then I prefer first relaxation hypnosis to have the time to identify. And also you have to think about the clients. They have been working around with these things for years, and then you come in and maybe it disappears in 5 minutes. So he wouldn't believe in that. He wouldn't trust you. So a little bit of story around this old story is also required. We are anyway already very fast, and in our sessions unbelievable things are happening. So, but if we push this unbelievable thing into an even shorter period of time, then it's getting more unbelievable and sometimes less acceptable for the clients. Yeah. So you have to figure out how you work. Yeah. But on the other hand, with people like unemployed who fail, or people who have to repeat a year in the school, and you know that with this one session you can motivate, but he will need motivation again and again and again and again. This is a quick and dirty series of active alert hypnosis session. Person comes in, what is the situation? What have you done since we have met the last time? And then next active alert sessions, 45 to 60 minutes. Bye. And you start with let's say a session every second week, and then after 3 weeks, and then after 1 month, and then after 2 months, to sustain the process until the moment they have a new job or they succeeded in the exams.
Okay. Oh, I think, Claude, after we had your training here and we have an OMNI examination, there are always people very scared for the test. You can do a quick fix on the bike.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can actually, this is the good thing. Once you study, you can do with the bike or even with walking, you can do what I call self-EMDR. you can produce, or you can help your clients, or you yourself, you produce by walking, by biking, by running. You can actually do exactly the same thing with your like EMDR does with traumas and everything. You can do it by your own movements, but you have to know how you have to do it, because otherwise we wouldn't be necessary anymore. So we have to teach people how to do it.
And we are going to learn that.
Yeah.
That's great. Claude, I think we could extend this podcast for much longer, but we are already over time. And that's why I want to conclude with a final question. And after that, perhaps you like something small to share. But I very much would like to know what was your most interesting session with this technique?
Well, one was very funny, because it was a father who came in with his 15-year-old daughter who had difficulties in school. So there were some indications for me that I told the father, you stay here during the session, which is not normal, but I wanted him to stay there because I wanted him to see how his daughter was actually able to change. And then we did some work. I don't remember exactly what that was. We identified some of these anxieties and problems and so on and so on. And then the girl on the bike, like 15 minutes or something, or 18 minutes. And she was really like flying away. I mean, it was just amazing. Just like she was so much gone. I mean, the problem was totally gone. And she came back from hypnosis. She said, well, this is the most amazing experience I ever made in my life.
Oh, wow.
And the father was able to be there. And of course, I record all the sessions. So of course, I gave them the language protocol, so they could probably record it or use it again. And this was really amazing for me. How the way she went off, I mean, just incredible.
It sounds really moving also, with her father also being there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, the father was the chief financial officer of one of the biggest company in Zurich. He's ever since then he's chatting with some of his staff or from the company during coffee breaks, and whoever has a problem with anything, kids and schools or whatever, they are referred to me by him.
Oh, great.
And I mean, it was a session of totally maybe 60 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, those are the best clients, you know?
Yeah, it's
most great, where you feel the most gratitude, I guess.
No, and I mean, this is really what we like, is that you create special experiences for your clients. It's not you go somewhere and you talk about your old rubbish again and again and again, and you start from A and you continue till Z. We don't have the time for that. We want to create this experience of going through it, going over it, overcoming it, becoming self-centered and in control of one's own life. That's what hypnosis is all about.
Yeah. Beautifully said, Claude. Are there any closing remarks from your side?
No, I think it was, I thank you very much for this discussion. Although, to be frank, we didn't discuss a lot. I think I did all the talking. I hope this is not was not totally impolite.
No.
And well, I think it's great to have your podcast and to start with that and to invite people and to discuss. And I'm very much looking forward to travel because I like traveling like nothing else. And to see you in Holland.
Yes,
Well, we are so much looking forward after what I heard. We cannot wait to get
Yeah.
on the bike.
Yeah, we are very excited to see you and very grateful because you were our first guest. So this is very special for us to have you here. And the topics are so interesting. I mean, we could have talked for hours also about the science project and about the active alert. But the good thing is you're going to be in the Netherlands.
Yes.
30th of April, right? Is the date.
Yes, exactly.
I'm in the front seat in the classroom.
That's good.
I'm really
These are those who are ready for the experiments all the time.
No, I really can't wait. I can really see the potential of this. Yeah. And I already have some clients in mind where I think, oh, this would be great. And yeah, I'm very inspired by what you said. So I'm really looking forward to it. So everybody, if you want to learn active alert hypnosis, join the training on the 30th of April. There are spots left, so feel free. Mom, you anything to say?
No. Next week we shift the topic. Next week we are going to talk about what you can do with hypnosis, and that will be a long list.
Yes. Yeah, we changed a little bit the program, but you know, it's our podcast, so who's going to sue us for that?
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Claude. It was
Thank you very much. You too. I very much enjoyed to be with you, but I will even enjoy more to be with you in front of you on the grounds of the Netherlands.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, see you next week, everyone, or in 2 weeks.
Okay. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.